Welcome to the Tissue Box Podcast. I'm your host, Pam Jordan. Welcome to the Tissue Box Podcast, where stories of resilience and inspiration unfold. In this episode, we are absolutely thrilled to welcome Sharenika Lashay, love that name, a remarkable mother, author, event host, and business owner. Sharenika has navigated life's challenges with grace and determination, using her powerful testimony to uplift and empower others on their own journeys. Join us as we delve into her inspiring story, exploring how she balances her multifaceted roles while making a meaningful, impactful lives around her. Don't miss this heartfelt conversation filled with wisdom, strength, and encouragement. Again, welcome to this episode of the Tissue Box Podcast. We welcome Miss Sharenika Lashay. You know I love saying that name, right? I just love it. I love it. And I'm so thrilled to have you here today to share your story. Tell us a little bit about you and your journey, what you've been through, what you do. Just give us a little background of Sharenika Lashay.
So a little background, I have 3 kids in different age bracket, like way space. I'm from a small town, Thompson, Georgia, like going right there by Augusta, Georgia. I'm a type of person that a faith pusher, but I'm a risk taker. So I often do things that don't make sense. So what be common sense to man, I love the unknown. So I try to get comfortable in the unknown. So I take big major faith leap. And so that's pretty much.
Have you always been that way?
So I kind of always been a risk taker, but it was when God showed me with my biggest risk when I left my hometown and went somewhere that I didn't have no family, no friends. I just did not know.
Big faith move.
Big faith move, because I had got spiritually numb, that I couldn't feel God, I couldn't hear God, and I got comfortable. Sometimes when you get too comfortable, you get stuck. Being too comfortable, you get stagnant and you be at a standstill. So I was with family because I have so much help. I had got comfortable, and so I felt spiritually dead.
So were you born and raised in the church?
I was.
Okay, so where did the confusion come from? Where did you get lost in it or comfortable in it?
So no, I got comfortable with having too much help. Because having too much help can cripple you. So with my family, I have a great foundation of family with my parents. Like they the type of person, like the old school, like bring them kids over here, or like, oh no, you can stay here however long you want to, and those type of parents. So I got comfortable with not growing because I was complacent of how much help I had. So I didn't want to step out my comfort zone. Then till I started building my prayer life and getting closer to God, that's when I really start doing those like faith jump and faith leap. But it really, when I transitioned to a different environment, that's when it started taking off.
Okay, what's that different environment? Let's talk about that different environment.
So when I left Thompson and moved to Atlanta, and let me back up. I remember when I felt spiritually dead and I couldn't feel God no more, and I'm like, okay, I want to get closer. I just said a simple prayer, I'm like, God, I want to get closer back to you. What I need to do? Mind you, I just had a little bit of baby, and I heard God clear as day said, quit your job. And I was like, oh, that wasn't God. That's the devil. That wasn't God right there. I missed him. I said, that wasn't him.
Right.
But so I was like, nah, I don't think that was God. So I kept on working, and then I heard it again. So I put my 2-week notice in. I ain't had no plan, no nothing.
What?
Put my 2-week notice in at work. Everybody saw me running my mouth too much. And so they was like, oh, why you got another job? I was like, yeah, no, I said, I'm moving to Atlanta. So you got another job? It's like, no. They was like, you got somewhere to stay in Atlanta? I was like, no. They were like, why you moving? I'm like, why am I moving to Atlanta when I don't have no plan? And so then I canceled the 2-week notice and stayed at the job. Later on, God was like, what did I tell you to do? And I was like, oh, okay. So I put a 2-week notice in again. This time I started covering myself through faith. So every time they asked me a question, then I I faithed it. So they was like, oh, you got a house in law? I'm like, yep. I stay somewhere in the law. I got a spot in law. They was like, you got another job? Like, yeah, I got another job. But I was faithing because I know the type of person I am.
Right.
And so they try to shut that down before they come drilling me with questions.
Right.
But I didn't have no plan. Only thing I just knew I wanted to work at Tyler Perry Studio. That's the only thing I knew. I ain't had no plan. I literally went.
So where did that come from?
So I originally applied there 3 years prior before me actually working there. I remember I watched them rip up the application, throw it in the trash. Never would got hired. And they was like, I was researching online. They was like, if you're trying to get a job at Tyler Perry Studio, your chances are at least to none. And so I was like, okay, I'm getting a little discouraged. I'm like, no, this is where I'm supposed to work. So I stayed online searching. And I found an agency that was hiring for the studio. Applied there. I found out what positions, changed my whole resume to fit that position, and literally got hired. Wow. I was sleeping in my car at the MARTA station across the street from the studio. So I was sleeping in my car at the time. Nobody knew. And I never told nobody I was homeless because my parents always had a stable house. So I always had somewhere to go back to. I just chose to do that. And I know if I would have told people what I was doing, they would have messed up my process because I know what God told me to do. So I slept in my car, left my kids back in my hometown. And I want to say I did that for probably 3 months. Then I got tired of sleeping in my car and it was getting cold. It was starting to freeze. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little tired of this. Got opened up a door. Mind you, let me back it up. I'm ahead of myself.
Okay.
When I first had started working there, I had applied for a homeless shelter because I didn't know where I was going to stay. I applied for a homeless shelter, but they ain't had no space available. But after 3 months went by, an old friend had called me and they was like, I know you work at Tyler Perry Studios, but do you drive back and forth to work every single day or you stay in Atlanta? I said, I stay in Atlanta. So where you stay? I said, I stay in hotel rooms, but I didn't tell them I was sleeping in the car until I was like, you know what? Because Holy Spirit, be honest. So I told them, I was like, okay, I lied. I've been sleeping in my car. They was like, no, we can be roommates. You have your own room, your own bathroom. And so it went through a transition of that. Once they got evicted, then I was like, God, I done gotten good with a job, everything going good. What I supposed to do? Then I got a phone call from the shelter that same day. I said, if I'm supposed to be down here, open up a door for housing. Got a phone call from the shelter the same day, which I ended up moving to the homeless shelter. Went from the homeless shelter to buying a house. If I would have never went to the homeless shelter, I would never found my house.
You better stop, girl.
It's testimony in between that.
I
because
see.
Even with the whole house process, I wasn't, even though I wanted a house, but I wasn't looking yet because I had spent all my money out on my car that I had totaled my car. So all the money I had saved up at Tyler Perry Studio, I had spent it buying a cash car. So I'm like, since I'm staying in a shelter, I could just stack my money back up. I didn't have no money in my bank account. So when I heard God was like, go look for a house, I'm like, nah, that can't be God, because that's not wisdom. I don't have the money. I ain't trying to waste nobody's time. But literally, he was giving me direction, telling me where to turn. Like I was hearing a small voice like turn right, turn left. And
Really?
I was following direction. I end up in front of the house and I heard God say, call the number. I'm like, call the number for what? When I ain't got no money for down payment. But I still called the number. And so even through that whole process with the house process, there was a whole faith thing because I did not have the money and was not going to get the money no time soon for no down payment because I went through that process before. So I already know what my numbers was. I already know what my credit score was. I already know how much money I need for a down payment because my debt income ratio is too high from student loan debt. So I knew I wasn't going to get no assistance from nothing. And I knew I couldn't take out no loan or nothing. So I still went through the process and the realtor was like, we went and looked inside the house. I just broke down crying. He was like, why are you crying? He was like, this house ain't nothing fancy. What you crying for? I said, cause this is my house. This is what God had to show me as my first house.
That's what you told the realtor.
He was like, well, I mean, I'm in agreement with this your house. I know this man less than 30 days, he gave half of his commission check. He was friends with the last owner, convinced them pay all the closing costs. The last person was which the shelter, they only give towards rent. They never even gave to a house before. And the most they give $800 and they end up sending $2,000. Like the whole process was nothing but God. And
nothing but God.
Every day the loan officer was calling me. They were like, if this money ain't in your bank account, because you got to send bank statements. you're not gonna get approved. You're not gonna get approved. And I'm like, I'm cast down, doubt, going to the bathroom at Tyler Perry Studio, crying. I'm like, God, don't have me looking stupid in front of these folks, because I'm sitting here telling them, they're like, how the money gonna go? I'm like, God said it gonna come through. But it ended up increasing their faith, because they were like, they never seen nothing like that happen before. And I was just like crying. I'm like, Lord, please, I cast down doubt, cast down doubt. Now this is my house, so I'm trying to envision myself cooking and cleaning inside the house. And I'm just like, Lord, I don't know where this money gonna come from. The last person was the attorney people. Nobody could never get them on the phone. That was like, and I'm trying to figure out how much money I need to have for closing. She never answered the phone, so I left her a voice message. Told her my situation. I was sleeping in my car. Told her what I had going on. She called me back. She said, I ain't never do this before. She said, I don't know what type of relationship you got with God, but she said, God told me not to charge you over $500. And then they had a check for me at closing. They had a check for me. So out of $8,500, I only had to pay $500. Literally. It was all God.
All God.
But even with that whole process with me sleeping in my car, and I told my parents after the fact, and he was like, yeah, if you would have told me, I would have called the police to bring you back on home. So sometimes we have to be silent in our process, because everybody's not going to understand or know until after the fact. And sometimes what make common sense seem like common sense to you, it might not be God. Cause it seemed like common sense, like go stay with your parents. That seemed common sense, but I know what God had told me to go through that process. Cause one day I'm gonna own a homeless shelter, so I want to be a first partaker, understanding, seeing how it feels, seeing the environment, learning how it is. Because one day I'm gonna own one.
Wow.
So
that is Mitch. Has your faith always been that strong?
So that with that whole process with the house, that increased my faith on a whole nother level. But I can't say my faith have been strong a lot, because sometimes I could be the insensitive friend. So a lot of times when people be sensitive to stuff, sometimes it seems like my emotions kind of checked out, because I'll be like, girl, that ain't nothing. Sometimes I'll just be like, that ain't nothing, because my faith level be on a whole nother level.
Wow.
So if you crying to me about something that's like, oh, this bill is due, you worrying about it ain't gonna make it better.
That's true.
So that means somebody gonna pay. If you ain't got the money, that means somebody gonna pay for it. You gotta just trust God that it's gonna get paid. You don't know, but the problem where we get stuck at is how and when.
That's
These
true.
be the only two. Sometimes you can feel like it's gonna happen, but sometimes people get stuck at when it's gonna happen and how it's gonna happen. But our job is not to figure it out.
So let me ask you, back to your move, your transition to Atlanta. Where did this idea of I'm going to work at Tyler Perry Studios come from?
So my whole dreams and passion was doing acting and modeling. Which I was doing it for a long time. But once I started the industry and seeing the wicked and seeing how dark it was in the arts and entertainment, and when I became to that situation with the whole, it was like nobody wanted to work with me unless I had sex. And so it was a mess, but it's still a mess now. But I was too desperate to become famous. I was too desperate to become a celebrity. I was chasing the wrong thing. And what I was chasing, it was coming right back. So a lot of it was my fault because of desperation. So when I changed that desperation, started going after God, then my dreams started going after me. But when that situation happened, it was similar, close to the sex trafficking. That's when I kind of like put my dreams to the side and was like, didn't really want to do it anymore, because I'm like, I don't want to keep experiencing this if this what all of this about. And so, but that was my natural born love dream with the whole modeling and acting, in which I done came back to it. But around that time frame, that's why I was like, if I work at Tyler Perry Studios, my dreams will always stay alive. My passion will always stay alive. And so, in which it did. While I was working there, I couldn't not think about acting. It was like every day I'm seeing it every day, seeing him, seeing Oprah, seeing whoever that be up there. It kept me motivated every single day.
Oh, wow. So how long were you there?
I was there like 3 years.
Okay. You learned a lot?
I learned a lot.
So a lot of people
found out how to do certain things, found out about the legit casting companies, built relationships with people, A lot of stuff that was trash to them was treasure to me because I used to personally clean his office. So a lot of stuff that even be in his trash can, I asked my boss like, "Hey, I found this in the trash can. It's okay for me to get it." It have like cards, numbers, and stuff like that that I found out
Wow.
legitimate people who to connect with. So it was really about the relationship and connections. And when I left on good terms. So I'm able to keep those connections and learn from
Right.
the people that I had connected with.
It was a part of your journey.
It was a part of my journey.
So you mentioned the sex trafficking.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we
Yes. Oh,
talk a
I'm
little bit
open book.
about? Yes, tell us about that and how that came about.
So I remember I was searching for different gigs online for acting and modeling. And around that time, I didn't know, because I was young, I didn't know what adult film meant. And so I was just searching for, I saw it said film, but I didn't read all of that. But
You did
I was so desperate.
desperate.
But this one particular person, he made it seem like he was looking for models and stuff, whatever, that he could manage. And so I had to apply because I'm like, I'm looking for a manager. In my head, I'm thinking, oh, this my breakthrough
This your
moment.
break, yeah.
I don't got put on. I'm finna be famous. This and that third, because he was well connected with a lot of celebrities. And so I remember meeting up with him. But even though around that time frame I was in the world, but I still had an unction of God still was in me.
Okay then.
So even when I was in my mess, God still was talking to me. But I was so caught up in so much sin, I didn't hear him clearly, but I felt him. And so it was like I had a adrenaline rush, like something ain't right. And so, but I still being hard headed around that time. So I text my friends. I was like, hey, I'm at this address. I don't know why I'm texting you this, but just in case I'm at this address. And so went in the house, different celebrities inside the house, downstairs,
Really?
big mansion. So I'm still feeling like, okay, this my moment. I'm finna, and he tried to make it seem like it was gonna be a modeling contract or whatever. But what happened was a lot of folks was in the house doing drugs. They kept asking me, oh, you want this drug? You want that drug? I was like, no, I don't do drugs. I might do a lot of stuff. I was like, I don't do drugs. But what happened was I didn't even know he had already put the drug inside the drink. Then he asked me if I wanted some to drink. And I was like, no, but I was there for a good little minute. Went to the bathroom, but I still kind of felt like something off. So I text my friend. I was like, if you don't hear anything from me by the morning time, call the police. Because I was just, something didn't feel right with it.
How old were you?
Ooh, I want to say, because it was like right after high school. So I had to be like 18 or 19 years old. And so contacted my friends, texted them that, told them that, whatever. Went back inside there. I did end up getting thirsty. I was really hungry and thirsty, but I didn't eat nothing to drink. And I was like, yeah, I'm thirsty. It was inside the alcohol already. I didn't know it was in the alcohol already. Drunk the drink. And later on, I remember getting real sleepy and getting real like nausea. And so, but I blanked out, didn't even remember what happened that remaining of the night. And so only how I remember in the vision stuck in my head because they showed me a video of it. And so that next morning, they was like, oh, you was TTG, you was this. And I was like, still out of it. They showed me videos, like I felt so sick to my stomach and I was disgusted with myself and I was embarrassed. And so
What was on the video?
sex, them having sex and running the train. Like it was terrible. And in it, like on the video you could see like I'm like sometimes my eye was like rolling back and it looked disgusting to me. Like to see myself like that. And so I remember making up an excuse to leave, like I'm gonna come back. But when I left the house, I called them and I also left them a email trying to have a paper trail because in my mind that time frame I was so mad and upset. I'm like, I'm going to the police about it. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But I kind of was like embarrassed and scared of what might happen. Yeah. So I sent them an email trying to have a paper trail and wanted them to respond back to the email so I could have some type of evidence or proof. Because I'm like, it's their word versus mine. So I sent an email. Next thing you know, I get a phone call back, but it was blocked, a private number, and that was like, I got your email, and I'm just letting you know it's your word versus ours. We got a video of you. We ain't make you do nothing. You did that on your own, and this and that. It'll be all over. Around that time frame, world star hip hop was real popular then. And so they was like, we'll put it all over social media and this and that. And so I had a child at the moment, my oldest daughter, and I'm like, I just suffer in silence. I just take the bullet. So I just stayed quiet for 9 years, didn't say nothing. I didn't even want to pursue the career of acting model no more. I didn't want to do nothing. I was like out, and that's when, but that instantly, that night, I remember pulling to the stop sign, screaming to the top of my lungs, crying to the top of my lungs.
Wow.
And I was paranoid, super paranoid. And I'm like, God, if you hide this video, I will run like you never before. I will never look back. And I've been running ever since then. But now I'm in a stage where, well, later on when I had got delivered from my past, I was like, even if that video would have resurfaced from the past, I'm able to own it and say, yes, that was me, but that can't hunt me no more.
Amen.
That can't hunt me no more.
Okay.
But for the longest, it had hunted me, and I was so afraid to go forth in anything because I was like, because I know how people dig up your past and dig up this, and I was like, nah, I got to keep that hidden. Now, when I got older and mature and start working on myself, I started exposing my own self. So when you expose yourself, can't nobody hold nothing over your head.
That's true.
So even if it was to resurface, I done told so many folks about this video, this video, that, to the point that they be like, oh, that's what she was talking about. But it's still, I'm not proud of what happened, but at the same time, would I even be delivered if that never happened?
Right.
So it's like a give and take. So I still appreciate it, but at the same time, it made me like tell my story to other people to avoid in the industry. And it also made me look at life different because I was chasing one thing, but God wanted me to chase him. And once I started chasing God, that's when my dreams started chasing me. So I stopped chasing my dreams, started chasing God. So now it reversed.
Well, what is so profound from what I'm hearing from you is that you were rooted in God.
Right.
You were raised that way.
Right.
And you never lost it. Even though you got sidetracked and you
Right.
went on this different path, this
Right.
different journey. Even when you were in the midst of the ugliness,
Right.
you still felt his presence.
Yes.
He was still speaking to
Somebody
you
was
and
praying for me.
directing you. Yes.
Cause I said, my parents, and I felt so bad because I probably embarrassed the mess out of them because they was like board members of the church. So I was
yeah,
like
you probably embarrassed
I
them.
probably was like a PK kid because we'll be the first one there, the last one to leave, and we'll be at church like 3-4 times a week. And so I always said, when I get grown, I ain't going back to church. I'm tired of church. We was always in church. I'm like, this church abuse, I don't want to.
Not church abuse.
So she was like, I said, do I have to go? She like, long as you stand up in my house, you going to church. So we ain't had no choice but to go. I was like, once I graduate high school, I'm not going back to church. I'm not stunned by God. I ain't stunned by this. And I said all this stuff. So even when people used to prophesy to me and say, oh, I see you ministering to people. I see you running behind God and preach God. I was like, not me. Because I don't like church, not me. And look at me now.
And look at you now.
Don't even want to leave the church. Now my kids be fussing at me like, Mom, it's time to go.
Wow.
But
what a transformation.
Transformation.
So how are you feeling? How are you?
I feel good.
Do you feel whole?
I do.
I hear the healing.
Yes.
I hear the healing in you, but are you whole? You feel whole?
I feel whole.
That's great. So tell us about the book. Did all of this lead to the writing of your book?
And so
which I have here, Hustle Through the Pain.
So that's another testimony within itself because even throughout growing up, I always got compared to my sibling. And there's always was a competition. He was the smart one. He always had the good grades. I had the bad grades. It was like he couldn't do no wrong. And so but also I had friends that was like better than me. They were super smart. And so I'm talking about smart. So it was kind of like I always got picked on for, oh, you dumb, you can't speak. Cause I'm country and I talk with a slang. But what I used to be ashamed of, I had to start owning it. And then what people fell in love with me with what I was most embarrassed about. So up in high school, people was calling me dumb, slow. You can't pronounce words. You can't pronounce nothing. You talk slow. You act slow, like retarded. Like calling me all the like even when the teacher called around and no, read this, read that. I used to be so scared I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to read because I might say
Oh,
something wrong. But God used that and he was like, you're going to write a book. And I'm like, not me, because I can't even picture myself doing any of that. And so literally I started writing down what I went through. When I started writing down what I went through, healing started coming about through
that is
me
so good.
writing. And so, but the enemy still tried to come after that because I was just writing, and let the editor do their job. And I remember a friend of mine, they read the book, they was like, oh, you had this wrong, you had that wrong, that's so embarrassing. So now I felt like, oh my God, I need to take this book down. I don't need to sell the book no more. And then my coach, Mark Coley, at the time, he was like, no,
No, Mark.
you're gonna stand in front of that mistake, you're gonna own it, and watch, you're gonna make more sales. So I went live, talked about the mistake I made. People fell in love with it. It made them start buying it more because they was like, no, people don't need to read. They don't need to read something that's fake. They need to read something authentic.
Right.
And some people want to read it like how you talk and how you sound, and that's exactly what it was. So I ended up making a profit out of that too.
Wow. Just going back to what you said about your experience in school, and we all know that kids can be cruel.
Right.
And all of these derogatory things being thrown at you, you're dumb, you're not. How did you get through that? How did you deal with that?
That took a long time to get through because I even carried that in my adulthood.
Yeah, I
So
can, yeah.
there was like a process. I would say I got through it by it goes back
Were you
to
secluded? Did you just like withdraw from people, or how did that, I'm trying to understand how would,
so I had a kind
because
of
those are hurtful words.
it is. I was the type of person that laughed things off, laugh
Oh,
while I'm
okay.
hurting. So I my coping really was like telling jokes, trying to make
Uh,
people laugh. So if everybody else laughing, they won't see me hurting.
right.
But nobody knew. And then I didn't tell nobody about it until I got grown. So that's why I said my healing process took longer because I held it in. Like a lot of them didn't know because I tried to act like I was good, pretend like I was good, and didn't say nothing about it
Wow.
for a long time. So it went on. It was until I started building my faith in God, building my confidence in God, and meeting new people that in a short time frame, I'm like, hold on, this feel more authentic with the strangers than people that I've been knowing
Then with your
for
family and friends.
that I've been knowing for years. And so, and I'm like, why these people, it seems like they can see the gift inside of me. They can see this, they can see that. But people that have been knowing me for a minute, they judge or they say this or they
Same
say
thing that
that.
happened to Jesus when he went
Yes,
back to.
right.
So was that relationship with your brother?
So you talking about how the relationship is? No,
Yeah.
we got a great relationship. I pick at him and say that all the time. Like everybody think you can't do no wrong, but the crazy part about it, he was the one that because everybody thought he was going to the NFL, and so all the attention was on him, and I was just crying out for attention, doing different stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Just want somebody to say I'm proud of you. Just want somebody to say, oh, you did good. I feel like nothing I did was good enough, so I was seeking attention, but I wasn't receiving it, so I ended up going to something else, seeking attention. But our relationship now is like I'm the mama, and he go around telling everybody, "Oh, my sister did this, my sister did that." He one of my biggest, probably
Oh,
number one supporters.
that's
Number one
awesome.
supporter. Like he tell everybody, like everything she said in that book, she ain't lying, cause who I don't got him in trouble sometimes.
Well,
But
there's one particular, going through the book, chapter 5 stood out about desiring family.
yes,
And I'm just going to read a little bit of it. You start off by saying, let God heal your imperfect self.
right,
The things I've done in the past or have been done to me cannot define me.
right,
God said, we are a new creation through Christ. I truly believe before true deliverance comes, you must be healed from it and forgive yourself. Forgive yourself from the guilt and shame. Don't beat yourself up. Give up self-condemnation. The higher my faith got, the more the doors started flooding open.
yes. Because God already got it set up. The people already there. The building already there. The everything, everything we need already there. It just waiting on us. A lot of times people say, I'm waiting on God, I'm just waiting on God. Are you really waiting on God, or are you using that as an excuse to not go forth and to procrastinate?
To stay where you are,
Because a
to
lot
stay
of times
stuck.
people say, I'm waiting on God. And yes, you should wait, but you should be working while you're waiting.
Yes.
And so the thing about it is with me, once I saw, like, hold on, let me work this faith, because it's easy to operate in doubt. It's easy because we're human. So
So easy.
sometimes stuff can come out our mouth and we just joking. But spirit don't understand joking. You gotta be careful what come out your mouth. We
Say
have
that
to be
again.
careful what come out, because we could just be joking around, just like, oh, this and that, oh, my little house, no, my big house,
I love that.
my big business.
Yes, girl. Yes.
So, and especially if you're prophetic, you definitely got to be careful on what words come out your mouth, because it go into the atmosphere. But once I saw, when I really saw, and this
Come on with it. Come on.
transparency.
Okay.
When I used to, because when I used to say negative stuff, when I used to whatever it is negative I say, I saw how quick it happened. Any bad thing come out my mouth, even if it was a lie or whatever in the past, I saw how quick it happened. I'm like, hold on now, this happened fast. Now imagine if I'm speaking the right thing, what can happen? And so that's why I'm super big on what words come out, because I'm like, I done seen it happen so many times. I done seen something happen out of nothing. I done seen me had nothing and
Sleeping in your car.
literally, like, that's why I can't nobody change how I feel, because
Oh, that's
I don't care if I ain't got the finance. Like, when somebody come to me, oh, I don't have the money to do a business. I don't have the money to get a house. I don't have the money this. I don't have the money that. Work your faith. Work your faith. Like, you got to envision yourself. You got to see yourself cooking inside the house. You got to see yourself driving a car. It's free to go test drive a car. Go test drive a car or your dream car. That's free. So, like, a lot of times that can also increase your faith life. Your faith. Like, even with the house, somebody desiring to get a house, it's free to go look at a house. It's free to go do a walkthrough, pray on the property, or do whatever you got to do to increase your faith. Because the thing about it, sometimes people's faith is low because they haven't exposed themselves to higher. And if you're seeing only the things around you, sometimes your faith can't get increased because you only seeing mediocre, you only seeing poverty, you only seeing the same thing. But once you step out that comfort zone and you go to a different area, somewhere, something different, unknown, all of a sudden your faith get increased. Or talk to somebody that already got it, or talk to somebody that been through it. But if you stand in that same, a lot of times we struggling in that area, if we, or the communication, connections matter.
That's what I was going to say. Next, it's the people you surround yourself with.
Because if everybody around you got low faith,
that's not a good situation.
And then you can have high faith if everybody around you got low faith. And all of a sudden, you might start talking like them. It's a chance you might start talking like them if all you hearing is low every single day. And so we have to be careful, even with our connections, because sometimes, and then also sometimes we can believe it for the next person, but not believe it for ourselves.
Yes.
A lot of times people struggle with that too. Like, I know it happened for you, sis.
Yeah.
But
we do that. We're guilty of that. Then when it comes to you, it's just hard. I don't know why that is, but it's easy for us to speak life into other people, but speaking life into ourselves, we have a problem with that for some reason. Right. And we're blocking our blessings or prolonging what could actually help and work in our lives. Right. You got to work the faith.
You got to work the faith.
I love that for you.
Thank
you.
You.
Do we have any more books in the works?
Yes, ma'am.
We do. Yay!
Yes, I am. I'm working on a prayer journal for different prayers, for different situations, because my prayers have shifted from back then and for now, and so and also with a book for mothers as well. So that's
I love how you kind of like just wove into your whole being this and just found on your faith
Right.
and realizing and recognizing that that's where the power comes from.
The power comes from.
That's powerful. What you speak about yourself is also powerful.
Right.
But when you tap in to your faith and God's plan for your life, sky's the limit.
It's the limit. No, and it's like the thing about it, we can talk up whoever we want to talk up, like God, send supernatural favor, send supernatural connections, and I declare that a testimony gonna happen today, like whatever coming out our mouth, like if we keep on working that same and being consistent in it, then we'll be like, hold on, it happened quicker than I thought it would. It ended up happening faster when we align our mouth and actually, because sometimes, like I tell certain people, sometimes you might not believe it. It done been times I didn't really believe it. I'm saying, but I ain't really believe it. But I had to trick my brain. Because your brain can get tricked. So if you keep saying it over and over, you're going to start believing it if you keep saying it over and over. So sometimes I had to keep saying it until I actually start believing it. So certain stuff I didn't believe was going to really happen. But as much I kept telling myself, as much I kept looking at it and putting it in front of my face, I thought I started believing it.
So did you believe it when you felt that when you were saying to yourself that you could get out of the darkness that you were in?
In the beginning, it was hard to really see in the beginning, but the more I got closer to God and the more I kept like saying it over and over, then I started seeing myself actually coming out. Like when I first was like, at first I didn't see myself as no woman of God. I didn't see myself as this good mother. I saw myself as a bad mother. I saw myself as a bad friend because of I always looked at my bad because it goes back to childhood. I didn't hear anything good about myself. And I always compared myself. I suffered from rejection a lot. So I always operated in condemnation. I beat myself up. I try to, the false humility. So let me say what's wrong about myself first because I know they're going to say something wrong about me. So that's what I did back then. I always try to count myself out because I know they're going to count me out. So let me self-reject myself first so I don't have to deal with you rejecting me. So if I can prepare myself and I reject myself first, it won't hurt as bad when you reject me. So that's what I did in my younger days. And so back then I couldn't really see it until when I started building my faith. When I started building my faith, then it was easier for me to see, like to the point now, like it'd be like, I don't care what you say.
And that was going to be like when you come across people who point the finger at you
Yes.
from your past.
Right.
Well, she thinks she all that and she used to be, because I know who she really is.
Oh, they love that one. They love that one. I know who she really is. Not just, okay.
Yeah. You just.
Right.
Well, that's what you had to do, really, because you're on a different path now.
Right.
You're on a different journey. And I just, I see it all over you.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful sight to see.
Thank
it's a
you.
beautiful sight to see. And what an incredible journey that you've gone through and the stories that you're telling. It's empowering.
Thank you.
I really want you to know that.
Thank you.
And I don't want you to stop doing what you're doing. Don't stop telling your story.
Right.
You know? And we all need to get to a place where we care less about what other people say or think about what we've done in the past.
Right.
When we're moving forward.
Right.
You know? A lot of people will want to stay in the past.
That's so true.
Yeah. They don't want you to move forward. They want you to be back there in the past where you were.
Right, and stay feeling bad and feeling sad.
Yes.
But God had told me because I used to act like that. I used to feel like, oh, like I was saying, back then I used to feel like, oh, I'm not good enough for this. I'm not good enough because I did this, because I did that. And God was like, what you most embarrassed about is going to make you the most money. You need to be opened up your mouth. But I used to try to hide behind my business. And so sometimes God will slow my business up to force me to do what I'm supposed to do.
Okay.
But because I used to be ashamed of public speaking. Because of how I talk, and God was like, everything that you have an issue about yourself, everybody else gonna fall in love. The people that's for you gonna fall in love with what you have the most issues about yourself, and that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
Exactly what happened. Like even when we be in professional settings, like at Tyler Perry Studios, and everybody coming there like, uppity and this and that third. I'm coming there country, like, ooh, and I ain't got no edge in the wig. I'm talking about just being goofball and being myself. And everybody was like, oh my God, I just love her. But when I be myself, it was like, hold on, they really do like me for me. And so it made me embrace my authentic self more and not trying to be like nobody else and be myself.
Right. So what message do you send to your daughter? What kind of conversations have you had with her about?
So with me, I'm the type of person, I don't believe in the sweeping under the rug. I tell her raw. I don't tell her like all the details, but I don't told her the surface to the point that I didn't even know she had listened that well. She done sold some books without me being around at a table. I got a vendor table one time, and I just had her just standing there while I was doing something. But other people was coming to me. That was like, your daughter done sold me. She know your whole story.
Wow.
And like she can literally quote the whole story on what I've been through and tell you what I've been through. And so I use my journey to let her know as well, like, don't make the same mistakes I made. I done been there, done that. And by she in high school now, I talk to her on
You have to. Yeah.
Have to. Like, look here, I'm not done and I got a relationship with God. So I can see stuff.
Don't play with me.
Don't play with me. So I let her know, like, I see stuff and I thank God for that relationship because God will send me warnings on where not to let her go. Don't let her do this. Don't let her ride the bus. Don't let her, it's going to open up a door for this. It's going to open up a door for that. And so I thank God for that relationship as well to be able to guide her better. But she know my whole story. I don't believe that sweeping under the rug. I be transparent with her and let her know.
Breaking the curse. Breaking the generational curse.
And how I know the curse is broken because what she did at her age, I was nothing like her. She got straight A's. I was failing. She like the crowd she hang around. I was hanging out with the wrong crowd. I was hanging out with girl that already was like being fast already. So I thank God for like her leadership skills and
that's awesome.
And her how she is. I thank God.
That makes you proud.
It does. It really does.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
This has been an incredible episode, an incredible conversation. And keep telling your story because you're pretty awesome. If nobody's told you that lately.
Thank you.
You're pretty amazing.
Thank you.
Pretty amazing. So let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
So everything is Sharenika Lashay. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, everything SharenikA Lashay. And also you can get the book on www.sharenikalashay.com.
Love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I enjoyed myself.
Oh, girl, we can talk anytime. You're an official member of the Tissue Box Podcast now.
Gotcha.
Okay. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Tissue Box Podcast. It was phenomenal, incredibly amazing. We hope that you will take something away from this episode. I know you're probably going to watch it several times, as will I. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you to Miss Sharenika Lashay. Make sure you like the episode. Make sure you subscribe to the Tissue Box Podcast. And until next time.